Some news just dropped about our offense that has me absolutely fired up. What's up, Raiders Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. Look, there's an injury situation with our star tight end that literally decides our entire season. Then there's a trade deadline drama that absolutely everyone is buzzing about. We got a quarterback room that is messier than anyone wants to admit. And finally, there's an update about our running game that, dude, it tells you everything about where this team is headed. Stick with me because you'll understand why these four stories decide whether we salvage this season or completely blow it up. But before I dive into any of that, hit that subscribe button. Support the work we're doing here. Now let's get to the news. So the news that just dropped has made me feel hopeful for the first time in weeks. Brock Bowers, the cornerstone of our offense, our record-breaking rookie tight end, is back practicing and ready to roll for Sunday's game against the Jaguars. Guys, this is massive. For those who didn't catch the details, Bowers has been out for 3 straight games with a posterior cruciate ligament injury and a bone bruise in his left knee. He suffered this back in Week 1 against the Patriots, but played through it for 3 more weeks before the team finally shut him down. And look, this doesn't happen in a vacuum, man. While he was injured, he still put up 14 catches for 122 yards, averaging 8.7 yards per catch. Playing hurt, that's the kind of warrior mentality we need on this team. And you know what happened when he went down? Our offense completely collapsed. We ranked dead last in the NFL offensively when he was out. Dead last, guys. Geno Smith had nobody to throw to. The passing attack that looked promising in Week 1 when we beat the Patriots, 362 yards from Geno, 5 catches for 103 yards from Bowers. It all disappeared. We've been averaging 14.7 points per game. We've scored fewer than 10 points in 3 different games this season. We ranked 31st in points, 28th in total yards, 30th in EPA. It's ugly, man. But now Pete Carroll, our head coach, says Bowers looks like he's playing at full speed and is completely healthy. And Geno Smith said, Brock is a big part of our offense, and we missed him out there for sure. He looked fine to me, so I'm really happy to have him back. That's your starting quarterback telling you how much this one player matters. So, Raiders Nation, do you think Bowers' return changes everything about our offense? Can we finally score some points? Comment below what you think of this situation.
Oh, but you thought it would stop there. Of course not, because the next topic involves our quarterback room, and guys, this is a mess. Look, I got to talk about a situation that nobody seems to have a clear answer. Aidan O'Connell fractured his wrist in late August during the preseason. He's been on IR ever since. When he went down, the Raiders traded for Kenny Pickett to be the backup behind Geno Smith, and now O'Connell is back, opening his 21-day practice window. So where does he fit? Here's O'Connell's track record, guys. He's appeared in 20 games over the past 2 seasons since being drafted in 2023. He started 17 of those games. His record as a starter is 7-10. He's thrown for 3,380 yards with 20 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Not great numbers, but not terrible either for a young developing quarterback. The problem is Geno Smith. Smith was supposed to be the veteran leader who would stabilize this offense. Pete Carroll and the front office traded for him because they wanted to win now. But Geno has been atrocious this year. He leads the entire NFL with 10 interceptions. His passer rating in some games has been 63.8. He's ranked 26th in EPA per dropback. So, do we bench Smith and give O'Connell a chance? Or do we keep rolling with the veteran and hope he figures it out? And where does Kenny Pickett factor into all of this? Is he the QB2 or the QB3 now that O'Connell is healthy? Nobody has answers, man. Pete Carroll hasn't committed to anything. And meanwhile, we're sitting at 2-5 watching the season slip away while we can't figure out who should be taking snaps. Look, my opinion, and I know this is controversial, I think you have to see what O'Connell can do. We already know what Geno is. He's a 13-year veteran who has been mediocre to below average for most of his career. He's not suddenly going to turn into a franchise quarterback at 35. O'Connell is 25 years old. Maybe he's not the answer long-term either, but at least you find out what you have. And there's another layer to this, guys. If we're cellared at the trade deadline, if we're giving up on this season by trading Jakobi Meyers, then why are we still starting a 35-year-old quarterback? That makes no sense. You should be developing young players and seeing what you have for the future. So, Raiders Nation, who do you want under center? Stick with Geno? Give Aidan O'Connell a shot? Let me know in the comments. And speaking of Jakobi Meyers, this trade drama is still continuing. Meyers still wants a trade, and according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Meyers has a decent chance to be dealt, and the Steelers are the most likely destination. But there's another team that makes even more sense, the New England Patriots. Here's why this is so interesting, guys. Meyers spent his first 4 years in the NFL with the Patriots, from 2017 to 2021. Josh McDaniels, who coached him in New England, is now their offensive coordinator. The Patriots also have an extra fourth-round pick from a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're surging right now, fighting for a playoff spot. They need firepower. Meanwhile, look at Meyers' production this year. 29 catches for 329 yards and 0 touchdowns. Compare that to last season, 87 receptions for 1,027 yards and 4 touchdowns. His numbers have completely fallen off a cliff. Part of that is because our offense is terrible. Part of that is because he's clearly checked out mentally. And here's what really tells you the trade is coming. The Raiders just signed Tyler Lockett as a free agent and put him in the slot receiver spot right behind Meyers on the depth chart. That's not a coincidence, man. They're preparing for life without Jakobi. If Meyers gets moved before the deadline, Lockett steps into a starting role immediately. The writing's on the wall, guys. Now look at our side of this. We're 2-5, ranked 29th out of 32 teams in the league. We have just a 3% chance of making the playoffs according to ESPN analytics. So the question becomes, do we sell and get assets for the future? Or do we hold on to Meyers and try to make some kind of miracle run? Look, I'm gonna be honest here. I think we have to trade him. Get that fourth-round pick from the Patriots. Get something instead of nothing. Because if we keep him and miss the playoffs anyway, which we probably will, then we just wasted an opportunity to build for next year. It hurts, guys. Because Meyers has been solid for us for 3 seasons, 187 total catches for 2,163 yards and 12 touchdowns, but it's time to be realistic about where we are. We're not making the playoffs. We need to start thinking about 2026.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more complicated, surprise, because the last piece of news is about our running game. And dude, this tells you everything about our culture problem. Ashton Jeanty, our rookie running back, has been brutally honest about where this team is at. After the loss to the Chiefs, Jeanty said the Raiders have had a losing culture for a long time, and former Raiders cornerback Derek Carr challenged him to be the one to change it. That's a massive weight to put on a rookie's shoulders, guys. Now, look at Jeanty's production. Through 7 games, he has 445 rushing yards, which ranks 14th in the NFL. He's averaging just 4.0 yards per carry with only 1 game over 75 yards. Those are not great numbers for a guy who's supposed to be a building block. But here's the context that matters. In Week 1 against the Patriots, Jeanty had 44 rushing yards after contact, but only 38 total rushing yards. Let that sink in, man. He was getting hit behind the line of scrimmage so often that his yards after contact were higher than his total yards. That means the offensive line is giving him zilch, absolutely nothing. Pete Carroll has said he's seeing signs of improvement in the running game. Jeanty himself talked about building chemistry with the offensive line and understanding the schemes better. But guys, how much can really change when your line is this bad? But you can't impose physicality when your line is broken and your running back is getting destroyed at the line of scrimmage. And yet, Jeanty keeps talking about changing culture. He said after the bye week, just a little rest and recovery, that's the biggest thing. Just refresh, and now we can get some guys back and different people feeling healthier and ready to attack. He said we got to stick together and keep talking to each other up. Stay positive. That's leadership from a rookie, guys. But is it enough? Can one player, especially a running back who depends entirely on his offensive line, really change a losing culture that's been here for years?